Hi everybody, my name is Jason Erickson and I created a game called Glow, which is my first DigiPen student project, my freshman game. Glow started out as a very simple idea. I wanted to start out with this blank screen, essentially, and I wanted the player to start out with just a blank screen and for the game to be created around the player, essentially. And I wanted specifically for the player to be the main instrument in causing this creation. So this led to the idea of how about the player creates their own enemies. Ended up turning into a spin-off of Asteroids, essentially, where the enemies were created by you and you fired enemies as weapons towards other enemies. And the reason I wanted to go in that direction was because I thought it would be a more interesting twist on the idea. It became partially a game about survival, much like Asteroids is, but it also became a game just as much about management, resource management, and if you missed, then it wasn't just a matter of you just get to fire again. That means you just created another enemy on screen. A lot of players really enjoyed this. As I tested it, they found it to be an interesting departure from the usual shooter survival style game. A lot of players found it too hard and often confusing because they would eventually end up with a lot of players on screen and it was very stressful, and sometimes playtesters didn't actually get much of an idea of what it was that they were supposed to be doing differently, which I found interesting. But for the most part, players enjoyed this dynamic. What was especially interesting about this game is that on top of the enemy creation, in order to just have that slight change in mechanic, this also allowed for an opportunity to create dynamic music, which is something that is highly interesting to me. And I spent a lot of time working through the mechanics of how to create a song on the fly that is always interesting and always sounds good. Interestingly enough, I couldn't find many actual examples of this. I tried to find research for examples that could help me figure this out, and I didn't really find very many. What I found were a lot of examples of sort of abstract things that didn't really create music or melody or rhythm, which is what I wanted. And so I created a lot of enemies with different types, and they all sync to the same sort of metronome. Playtesters loved the dynamic music part of it. They also loved the colors. That's a comment that I heard a lot, was just pretty colors. I love the colors. That's something that came from my partner Nick Studley, who also did a great job on this game. Overall, what I'm most proud of with Glow is that the game that I ended up making is almost exactly the game that I wanted to make when I started with, and that's exactly what I wanted to get out of this project, and I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to manage scope to that level. I made something very simple, but something that was unique to me and was still interesting and highly polished at the end of the day. And as a result, I've created a game that I'm very proud of. So if you're interested, I have a link in the description so you can check it out and download it. Thank you very much for watching this video.